Hey guys, so this video is going to be a full week of workouts with me. So I am actually filming this at the end of the week of training because I realised I hadn't done an intro. So yeah, this is going to be a full week. I train 4 days a week at the moment, so I'm going to walk you through every single day that I'm training. I'm also going to do a little bit of a voiceover to give you an idea of what it is that I'm doing in the sessions. Also, big change you might have noticed already is that I've had my lip filler dissolved. It feels so weird. It's like they're completely gone, but it's only temporary. I paid for a package to get them dissolved and refilled, so they won't be as big as they were before because they were quite large, but they'd started to migrate, so I decided that it was a good time to get them dissolved. And if you'd like any more info on what that situation was like, then do let me know. But yeah, it feels good, and I weirdly like my natural lips again. I nearly said nips, dearie me. My natural lips again, so I don't know, I feel like if I get them refilled it'll only be a tiny bit of filler in them because I do quite like them the way they are. Anyway, we're starting off this week of workouts with a glute session, so you'll hear me in the voiceover in a few seconds. Bye. Okay, so starting off on the adductor, normally I do 3 sets, about 12 reps on the first set, moving the weight up, moving on to 10 reps, moving the weight up again, and then doing 8 reps. I like to give myself rep ranges instead of specific amounts of reps, so normally it's 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8 is how basically every single exercise is going to be in this workout. Then I move on to some hyperextensions. I'm really focusing on rounding the bottom of my back so that I'm using my glutes and my hamstrings and not using my back to lift myself up. I'm holding a 15 kilogram plate in my hands just to give myself a little bit of extra resistance. I do this to activate my glutes before doing RDLs. Moving on to hip thrusts. For this I normally do 3 to 4 sets, starting with the lightest weight. And working my way up to 2 top sets. So again, 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 2 sets of 6 to 8. Normally on the second set it is flat out 6. There is no way I'm getting another rep out of that. I've been really focusing on getting my strength up with these, so training hip thrusts twice a week and really pushing up those numbers. And this is a lot easier when you're eating a lot more food, so if you're going to try and push your weights up, then it's definitely best to have some more energy in the tank, aka more calories. Then going on to glute biased RDLs, so having a little bit more of a bend in my knee, pushing my glutes back as far as they'll go. I'm nursing a bit of an injury to my hamstring during this session, so that's why the weight's quite low. Normally I like to push the weight up on this a little bit, but I do find that I am able to make a better connection with my glutes when I have a lower weight on this exercise, just because it just helps me to focus and not worry about injuring my back if I have a higher weight on it. And that concludes this glute session, and the first workout of the week is done. Hey guys, so these next clips are from Tuesday's workout when I did a full upper session. Normally I only train full upper body once a week because it's not really an area that I want to focus my growth in at the moment. I'm mostly focusing on lower body development, which is mostly my quads and my glutes, because my hamstrings, sorry if you can hear the dog, he does this every time I try and film. My focus is to grow my glutes and my quads. My hamstrings are very dominant, so I've been working quite a bit to try and do less hamstring work. There's only one day in which I do a couple of hamstring focused exercises, so yes, this is my full upper session. Starting off with some cable lateral raises. These feel so heavy. It doesn't matter how many times I do this exercise or how much I progressively overload myself on this exercise, it always feels heavy. So as you can see, it's quite a light weight that I've got on the machine, and I'm really focusing on time under tension here. So just keeping it nice and controlled, not swinging it up, trying to keep my shoulder blades retracted so that I'm using my shoulder and not my traps, because my traps tend to take over a lot of exercises. The next movement is a seated shoulder press. So with these, I like to go really heavy because this is really the only kind of compound exercise, I guess you could call it, in this workout. It's the only exercise where I'm really using a lot of strength. So I like to push this weight up quite a bit when I'm training and aim again 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8. My hair is down in this session as well. I was at work training on my lunch break and I forgot a hair bubble. Not ideal. Moving on to some lateral raises with dumbbells, and the pump cover is off. Literally the second that I've done shoulder press, my shoulders feel like they're about to explode. And you know, you got to show off your hard work sometimes. So we get the top off when we do lateral raises. So for these, I again 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8, relatively low weight. Then moving on to some pull-ups. I've been adding these in to both of the days where I train upper body, so my posterior day as well as my upper body day, just because I really want to get these stronger. Normally I can only do 3. This was a particularly good session as I managed to get 5 out of it. Don't know where that came from, but it is really hit and miss with these. I do feel like training back more often has helped. And then this is more of an isolated exercise, so single arm cable pull downs. Really focusing on my lat. As you can see, I even got my hand on the area that I'm focusing on to really get that mind to muscle connection. I'm not letting my shoulder come really far forward, and I'm just focusing on the squeeze at the bottom. This is an exercise where you can go quite heavy, but you know, you can also do this seated on a bench instead of on your knee if you have bad knees. Final exercise of this workout is a rear delt fly. So making sure again that I keep my shoulders depressed so that I'm not using my traps, because this is another exercise where my traps tend to take over quite a bit. This being the last exercise as well, I do kind of normally, it's very isolated, so normally 10 to 12 times 3 for this exercise is enough to work my rear delts but not kill them off. These next clips are from my quad session. This I did at King's Gym. So me and my boyfriend went for a little gym road trip to King's Gym, which we do sometimes. Snoopy wants to say hi. He's being very needy, aren't you? Being very needy. They have amazing kit at King's Gym, and it does make such a difference when you're training with like proper bodybuilding kit. It feels completely different. Everything moves so much smoother, and I can lift way more weight when I'm at a gym that has really decent equipment. So this session I did in a few different kinds of supersets and drop sets to really push my legs, and they are still hurting now 3 days later. So if that doesn't say something, then I don't know what does. So starting off this workout again with abductions. This is a very much quad focused day, but I always like to activate my glutes, because if you can get a little bit of extra booty gains in there, then why wouldn't you? There's a couple of squatting movements in this and a pressing movement. So, you know, if we can get a little bit of glute activation, why not throw it in there as well? So yeah, 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8. You guys probably know the score by now. Everything's pretty much the same. Moving on to the next exercise, which is Smith machine squats. Using the Smith machine here so that I can go to failure, because I find with barbell back squats, I'm scared of failing. And on this machine, even if I go to, you know, can't even stand up anymore, I can just hook the weight back on and crawl out of it, and it's absolutely fine, no harm done. Whereas with a back squat, there could be harm done. So with this, I do 3 sets, 2 sets of 8 to 10, 1 set of 6 to 8, and go as heavy as possible, really. Next up is leg press. Normally I do my leg press before the Smith squats, because they're the heaviest exercise that I do on this day. And I do 4 sets of this exercise, 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8, 6 to 8, and then sometimes I'll throw a bit of a drop set / back off set where I will drop the weight down and do as many reps as possible at the end, just to really burn out my quads. So this is another exercise that I've been really focusing on increasing my strength in as well at the moment, which is just such good fun. Who doesn't love to lift heavy? Then we're moving on to this gorgeous drop set, which is split squats. 8 reps on one leg, drop the big weight, pick up the little weight, and do another 8 reps. I normally do 3 sets of this, and by the end of this, my legs are screaming for help. So if you've not given this a go before, then please try it, because it will change your life, and your quads and your glutes will thank you for it eventually. Probably not immediately or 3 days after, but eventually. Following this up with another disgusting drop set, which is goblet squat drop set. I have my heels elevated, my knees are coming over my toes, and this is so I can get as much quad activation as possible. In this stance, it's pretty hard to engage your glutes because, you know, you're going to full flexion at the knees, which works a lot of quad. So we're doing it with a weight, and then we're dropping the weight and doing half reps like pulses until failure basically. And this is hell, but it's great, and it's really helped develop my quads. And then we're finishing on leg extension. So normally I do this on a normal leg extension, but I felt like switching it up for this session, so we did seated single leg extension. And on this day I did 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8. On a normal day I will do a dual leg extension, so just a normal leg extension, and I will do 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8, and then I'll do a drop set on my last set, so I'll 6 to 8, lower the weight, 8 to 10, lower the weight, 10 to 12, and that is the drop set, and that burns. You will be hobbling out of the gym after that session. And these final clips are from my posterior session, which I did back at the gym in Maxfield at the Pure Gym. And this day is mostly focused on glutes, a little tiny bit of hamstrings and back. Because I really want to get my pull-ups, I've added in pull-ups on both my upper body and posterior days just to try and get my strength up. But this is the last day of the week that I train. Normally I do this on a Sunday. I did it on a Monday this week just because I went away for the weekend to Yorkshire, so had a little bit of a break. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, played around with some different variations of exercises like the landmine RDLs, which are really good. They take the strain off my back quite a lot, so I do enjoy doing those instead of conventional RDLs sometimes, just because it helps take the little bit of the strain off my back, which I struggle with quite a bit. Okay, here goes. What did I say? Every leg day, every chance for glute development, we are going to take it. So starting off with some glute activation on the abduction machine, same reps as before, 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8. Then moving on to some landmine RDLs. This was new to me on this day. Normally I do barbell RDLs, but I find that this actually puts less tension on my back. So I really enjoyed this variation, and it allows me to put a little bit more weight on it, even though I have a bit of a hamstring injury. And it just takes a little bit less effort to set up, you know, I'm lazy. And then we move on to a lying hamstring curl. I would rather do a seated hamstring curl, but they don't have one in my gym. So lying hamstring curl, same reps as always, 10 to 12, 8 to 10, 6 to 8. These rep ranges are not suited for everyone. If you're going for power, then maybe lower the rep ranges a bit. And if you're going, it doesn't really matter, as long it's different for everybody. So as long as you're hitting a rep range where you feel like you're going to failure, it works. Again, adding in pull-ups to this session so I can work on making them a little bit stronger. As you can see, I have my sports bra on wrong. Typical me. Single arm pull downs, again, really focusing on keeping them slow and keeping the contraction in my lats. Your lats actually go down pretty much to your hip, like to your waist, so that's why my hand is where it is. It's kind of like the insertion point of my lat, and these are really great for getting lat activation. Ooh. So that is the end of my full week of workouts video. I've not done one of these in over a year, so I've not actually shared my full workout program with you guys in a long time, and it has changed a lot since the last time I did one. I focus way more now on progressive overload than I did before. I'm lifting way heavier than I was before, and that is kind of the key to any kind of muscle growth. I have seen in the last few months, whilst I've been doing this bulk, significant changes in my body composition, and I'm super happy with the way that everything's going. And the plan is to stay in this bulking phase for another 4 weeks. After this week, I'm now on 2,900 calories a day, which is a lot of food to be eating, but really, now Snoopy's having a drink. He just wants to be the centre of attention. Yeah, it's a lot of food to be eating, but the idea is that when I come to cut for summer, that it will be a lot easier to cut from 3,000 plus calories than it would be to cut from 2,000 calories. So I will bring you guys on this entire journey with me, from going from the depths of a bulk into a cut, which is going to be very exciting, and I'm really excited to see what kind of muscle development I have managed to gain in the last 6 months of bulking, since I was like, I mean, the last time I was properly lean was December, so it's been nearly 4 months since that. So yeah, I'm very excited to share this process with you guys, and I hope that I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Say bye bye. Say bye bye everyone. Bye.